Hey, how you doing? My name is Joe Connick, one of the members of the Mobile Mobsters, Mobile Organized Baseball Society, teaching every relevant skill. And we're going to try to bring as many instructional videos to you with different players from around the Mobile area that have gone on to either the pros or collegiate success to help give you an instructional video series so that you could possibly become a better baseball team or baseball player. Being a catcher for almost seems like all my life, I have found that the most important thing taught to me about catching is communicating with your infield. Coach Jody Daniels back in 1985-86 was basically the initiator of how important it was to communicate with your defense. And I found over the years that has been the thing that helped keep defenses solid, is whenever you can communicate your expectations, you have less likelihood of anxiety, therefore fear, therefore the possibility of an error. So it goes something like this. I just call it the Coach Connick catchphrases from the Mobile Mobsters, okay? The main acronym I like for everybody to learn about when it comes to understanding the piece of the puzzle that you need to communicate with every different situation that presents itself is the word order. It's an acronym that stands, always remind people how many outs we have in the inning. From the pros to Little League, a catcher will always indicate how many outs there are. This reminds everybody exactly how many outs there are, so you don't think it's 2 outs and flip the ball into the stands or come running off the field. Always indicate in every situation how many outs there are. Very important. Now the runners, locating where the runners are, you add this to it because sometimes we forget we had a runner on third or it's a possibility for a double play. So what you're trying to do is basically indicate where the runners are so you're always familiar with their location so you'll know what to do. Defense, so what you're going to do with the ball. Every time you basically explain what you're going to do with the ball, then everybody knows, so when the ball gets hit, you're not a deer in the headlight, going to first, going to second, back and forth, those kind of things. And you know directly what you're going to do with the ball because you set the stage basically through your communication for what could possibly happen when the ball is hit either to the infield or to the outfield. So all these things, we have the outs, we have the runners, and then what we're going to do defensively. Now the E and the R, this describes what's called the battery in your defense. You know, the pitcher and the catcher are what's known as the battery. I'd like to think the catcher is the positive side of the battery, where the pitcher is more the negative side because they're constantly worried about throwing strikes or whether or not their girlfriend or whatever's going on in the stands or they didn't get the last batter or something like that. So a catcher has to stay positive. He has to be the most energetic, working hard type guy on the field. He is the field general. He would set the example of what's going to happen. So with his energy, with his demeanor, all these things, you can have a successful, lively, functioning infield and outfield. So ever ready. So outs, runners, defense, ever ready. That's your order. Maintain order in your defense because a lot of times when the ball starts getting thrown around, it turns into a circus. You're just flying everywhere and a lot of errors occur. Now, you need to know this if you're a catcher or a field general. There are 8 situations in baseball. No one on, runner on first, single runner on first, single runner on second, single runner on third. You then have double runners where you have first and second, second and third, first and third, and then of course bases loaded. Now each one of these, what I call 10 commandments, fit to the defense that what's going on right here. So let's just say you go out there, you got no outs, the base is empty, you're about to set the stage, so the catcher comes up, he's coming down to second, he comes up, he throws it down to second. Very important that you start the defensive inning by creating this rhythm within the defense. So you come up, you throw a strike about chest high down to second base, the ball's going around, and then you start setting the stage for what you're going to do defensively. So we come out and we say, hey, we got no outs, nobody on, let's keep it in front and go one. That means your infielders keep the ball in front of you so you can pick it up and throw it out at first. Now when the ball's hit and it goes to your first or second baseman or shortstop, you of course as a catcher, you moving down the line, racing the runner, trying to prevent a pass ball. So as we covered, the first commandment of defensive play is no outs, nobody on, let's keep it in front and go one. That's where we're going with the ball, what we're going to do defensively. And you're trying to maintain a rhythm. What you want to do is create these little catchphrases so that when you are commanding everybody about what to do, you're not interfering in what we call the rhythm of the game. You basically establish the rhythm through how you're getting signals down for the pitchers, how the ball is moving, the energy of the infield, and how they communicate with the outfield. It's basically like a megaphone. It starts with you, goes through your third baseman and your first baseman out to your outfielders. Never, ever, ever talk to an outfielder, okay? This is something that's a common mistake that happens from the pros to the Little League. Pitcher cover the right side. So I come out, I set the stage, no out somebody on, let's keep it in front, go one. I get back behind the dish, I look at my pitcher, and I say, don't forget to cover the right side. Why? First baseman comes off, first base is exposed, pitcher has to take that path and cover the first base. It's a fundamental, pitching fundamentals. You should know how to cover the first base. Now let's go into a runner on first. So we want to try to get 2 outs anytime we can, especially in the early part of the game, tailor-made double plays, all these things. So what do we say? Let's turn 2 in the middle, be sure 1. Anytime and every time I've ever been around baseball, what happens is if you bobble, you want to make sure you get 1 out wherever it's going. Where are we going to turn the middle, the double play? In the middle of the field. You want to try to turn 2 in the middle, be sure 1, unless there's 2 outs, okay? Then you want to say, hey, easy bag, second or first, easy bag. Why? Your shortstop doesn't have to make a throw all the way across the infield. You just want to take the easiest bag. So that's another commandment. Probably forgot to write it up here. But always, when there's 2 outs, always find the easiest bag. Again, we want to keep this defense simple, stupid, the KISS philosophy, K-I-S-S. Don't make a throw if you don't have to. Find the easiest bag, make the tag, get it done. Again, the simpler you keep the defense, the less chance you have anxiety, less chance you have a chance for failure or an error. Okay, and we want to keep it as simple and as consistent as we can. Now, commandment number 4. This is for you pitchers and catchers. So, if you got a runner on first and you want to turn 2, and the dribbler goes back to the pitcher, you want to try to turn 2 in the middle, be sure 1. The commandment would be back to you, turn 2. At this time, the pitcher would turn around, look at his shortstop or second baseman, whoever's covering. They signal who they're working with together. So when the ball's hit, if it comes back to the pitcher, he simply fields it, turns, throws to second. Tailor-made double play. You got 2 outs. You could be out of the inning, whatever. Okay? Now, number 5. This has to do with the third baseman. Let's say you have a runner in scoring position. That's a runner on second. Anytime a runner gets in second, you're in scoring position. Now, if the ball gets hit to the outfield, chances are the guy from second could score. So, but you still want to line your defense up. So anytime you get that single runner or 2 runner or any runner on second, you want to line up your third baseman and your first baseman. So here's the megaphone. I look at my third baseman. Hey, base hit through, you're my cutoff man. I need to see that third baseman then turn, put his hands in the air, big target, and say, hey, I'm your cutoff man. I need to look at the first baseman. Hey, base hit through to center or right. You're my cutoff man. After that, you should see your first baseman turn, put his hands up in the air like this and say, I'm your cutoff man. The reason you do that is the ball gets hit, he turns around, he remembers that target, he knows where to throw, he sees all the chaos going on in the infield. Catcher, you're then lining them up, right, left, cut 2, cut 1, wherever. That's what you're doing. So it all is prep work in the possibilities of what could be happen with the ball. All right, so number 5, your third baseman, your first baseman, they are your extension to the plate, which you're trying to prevent runs from crossing. Now, number 6, again, this is your number for your shortstop. So shortstops have a way of wanting to be, I mean, they're the athletic, everybody wants to be Derek Jeter, this kind of thing. So if you have runners on first and second, and instead of trying to make a double play, there's a ball in the gap, he backhands it, the ball's taking him that way. Instead of trying to turn around, jump in the air, and be Derek Jeter, you field the ball and just go to third base. So if it takes you that way, get the force at third. Okay? So instead of trying to make a heroic Sports Center turn and double play, just field the ball. The momentum should take you to third. You get the force out at third. So number 6 commandment, if it takes you that way, get the force at third. That's runners with first and second. Okay? First and second on the tag there. That's the most complicated because the catcher's going to come out and say, hey, let's turn 2 in the middle, be sure 1. Back to you, turn 2. Hey, shortstop, if it takes you that way, let's get the force at third. It's just a reminder, kind of setting the stage there. Now, anytime you have a single or a runner on second, a lot of time a standard bunt defense is you want your third baseman to stay home. Why? Because if he charges a bunt, it's going to leave third base exposed. No one's there to cover. You know, you can have these elaborate bunt defenses or whatever. But most of the time you want that guy to stay at home and let that pitcher come over and cover the line and show his athleticism. So anytime you see a runner on second, there's a potential for bunting. Unless you have some kind of specific bunt defense set in place, just have your pitcher come off and try to cover that line the best you can, and then you make a charge on that one. So stay at home on the bunt, runner on second in scoring position. Again, base hit through, you're my cutoff man, those type of things. You're constantly thinking, what can I say to predict what could possibly happen if this ball's hit to the infielder or to the outfield? So you're constantly thinking, you're constantly in communication with your first baseman or your third baseman or even your shortstop and second base to see if I can pick somebody off if they're getting a big lead and they're not paying attention to you. That's a great time to try to pick somebody off base and get that extra out. Okay, again, if you get a runner on third here and you got a third baseman, now if there's a bunt, there's no reason why he can't take the line. So if you see a runner at third, you want to make sure that that guy takes the line, you know, maybe pump fakes or whatever, or tries to get the guy back at third. Now, this again is a great one on number 9. If you have a runner on third and a catcher misses the block and it goes to the backstop, you've got to remind that pitcher to cover the plate, because if the ball gets by you, you catchers, you're going to run back there, do the hook knee slide, pick it up and throw it to the plate. It's practice, 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 and then hopefully you can prevent that run from scoring. Now the one I like to use whenever I have bases loaded, which let's say less than 2 outs, I like to bring the corners in and keep the middle deep. So you want to go in on the corners, 2 in the middle. On the 10th commandment, with bases loaded, in on the corners, 2 in the middle. Why? Because you can turn double play from the plate to first, or you can actually do the double play in the middle. So in on the corners, 2 in the middle, you know, get the double play. Of course, if there's 2 outs, you go easy bag. So you just come out and say, hey, we got 2 outs, let's go easy bag. Now, this is what we call quarterbacking of the defense. You have got to be in communication with everybody. And sometimes you can even use verbal dekes by the way you talk, by calling somebody's name out and then pick behind them. You know, you always have the signals about how you want to pick or throw behind. Again, if you say you're going to pick a guy off first, the first baseman needs to give the signal to the outfielder in case there's a passed ball. And as you know, the general manager with the Nationals said with Danny Jennings, a well-coached team is a team where everybody's moving to where the ball could be possibly overthrown or where the play is going, and everybody knows their role. When that ball's hit, everybody's moving. Pre and post pitch, as he called it. Pre-pitch, the infield wants to be creeping in, ready to do the thing where you jump up and then land and be able to move. And then post-pitch or post-play, you want to see everybody on that defense moving as one unit to prevent where the ball might be overthrown or something. So I hope this helps. This will be the first of hopefully many videos that the Mobsters, Mobile Organized Baseball Society, teaching every relevant skill, will try to get to you so you can review these things in case we can't come to your local park. So again, once again, thanks for watching. This will be the first of many videos, we hope, that will help you out with better understanding this great game we know as baseball. Thank you.